Welcome to NodeCast Explains. The future of energy is, without a doubt, one of the most contested topics on the planet right now. You've got these incredibly powerful organizations, and they're offering up visions of the future that are, well, they're polar opposites. Today, we're going to unpack these two competing futures, see what the big players are betting on, and figure out what it all means.
So, let's just get right to the heart of it, shall we? Is the age of oil finally winding down, or is it actually just gearing up for a whole new chapter? Honestly, the answer you get really depends on who you're talking to and, frankly, where you are in the world. This is truly a tale of two very different realities.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll dive into the electric revolution, that vision of a world that's ready to move on from oil. Then we're going to flip the script and look at the growth engine, the powerful argument for why demand is here to stay. We'll see how these two outlooks just completely clash in the official forecasts. And then we'll bring it all home and ask, what does this global tug-of-war mean for Canada, a country standing right at this critical crossroads?
Okay, let's start with the story you probably know best. It's the one that dominates the headlines, especially here in the West. It's this powerful, really popular idea that the march of electrification is just unstoppable, that it's set to wipe out oil demand, and it's all happening way faster than anyone thought possible.
Now look at this date. This is what's so striking. According to the experts at Bloomberg New Energy Finance, the peak for oil use in cars and trucks isn't some distant event we can forget about. They're saying it's going to happen in 2029. I mean, that's just a few years away. It's a massive fundamental shift, and it's all being driven by one key technology.
And here's the fuel for that fire, a 25% jump in global EV sales just this year. That is some serious momentum. We're not talking about a slow, gradual change here. This is an exponential curve in action. This is the engine that's powering that 2029 forecast.
But where is all this actually being built? This right here is so important. The battery is the absolute heart of an EV, right? And you can see the supply chain for it is overwhelmingly concentrated in one single country. China is on track to control a staggering 75% of the world's battery manufacturing. It's a huge reminder that this green transition is also a story about geopolitics.
Of course, it's not all smooth sailing. Even within this transition story, there are some pretty big bumps in the road. You've got the UK, for instance, pushing back its ban on new gas cars. Some of the big car companies are tapping the brakes on their all-electric plans. These are real-world headwinds, and they show that even a trend this powerful has its challenges.
All right, now let's completely switch gears. Because while we in the West are all focused on this transition, a massive part of the world sees the future completely differently. For billions of people, the story isn't about replacing energy, it's about adding it. It's about growth, pure and simple.
And this quote from OPEC, the group representing many of the world's biggest oil producers, could not be more blunt. They hear all the talk about a rapid phase-out, and they basically say, that's a fantasy. They see it as totally unworkable and completely disconnected from the real needs of the global economy. This is the absolute core of the other side of the story. So, here's their central argument. Historically, we've never really subtracted a major energy source. When we found oil, we didn't stop using coal, we just used more of both. OPEC says renewables are the same story. We're just adding another source to the mix. And the real key is that nearly all the new demand for energy is going to come from developing nations, not the wealthy industrialized countries. And this slide shows you exactly why. It's pretty simple. Follow the people, and you find the future energy demand. Between now and 2050, Africa's workforce is set to grow by almost 700 million people. India by another 144 million. Now look at the contrast with China and the developed nations. Their workforces are actually shrinking. This demographic tsunami is the foundation of the whole growth argument.
And here's the bottom line. From OPEC's point of view, global oil demand doesn't peak in 2029. It doesn't peak at all in the next couple of decades. In fact, it keeps on growing, adding over 18 million barrels per day by 2050. I mean, this isn't just a small disagreement. It's a completely different map of the future. So what we have here are two totally plausible yet completely contradictory visions for our energy future. And this isn't some academic debate, This is a fundamental clash with trillion-dollar consequences for where we invest our money, for government policy, and for global stability.
Just look at the numbers for next year. The International Energy Agency, which advises big energy-consuming countries, thinks oil demand will grow by about 700,000 barrels a day. OPEC, they're forecasting 1.3 million. That's a difference of 600,000 barrels a day. OPEC's forecast is nearly double the IEA's.
And it's not a one-off. The gap just gets wider. For 2026, it's the same story. OPEC is projecting about double the demand growth that the IEA is. This is way beyond a rounding error. This is a profound disagreement about the direction of the entire global economy.
So where does all this leave Canada? For a major energy producer like us, this global split creates a huge amount of uncertainty. We are, without a doubt, standing at a crossroads, trying to figure out how to navigate a world that's being pulled in two totally opposite directions.
But here is a fascinating twist. In the middle of all this fighting about demand, there's actually a surprising consensus when it comes to supply. All the big agencies, the IEA, the American EIA, and yes, even OPEC, they all agree on one thing. Canada is going to be a key driver of the world's future oil supply.
And you know what? We're already making moves. The Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion is a perfect example. It's this massive, strategic piece of infrastructure that's designed to give Canadian oil a direct path to those fast-growing markets in Asia, the very same markets that OPEC believes are the future engine of global demand.
And that leaves us with the ultimate question. The world's energy titans are placing massive bets on two completely different futures. One side sees a rapid transition away from oil, the other sees decades of growth. And somehow both sides are looking to Canada as a critical supplier. So as a nation, which future are we building for? It's a choice that will absolutely define our economy and our place in the world for generations to come.